Hello and welcome to the course Network Analysis using Python. I'm your instructor Somyajit Chakraborty from Team Bread and Code. Let us start with networks. What is network? A network is basically a set of objects which have interconnections among them. Why do we study them? Because they represent the real world systems. Basically, they are everywhere. What are some examples of networks? The most primary use of network is the establishment of social networks, which in turn establishes relationship between various social entities, here people. The social networks could also be used to study the behavior of emails sent from one person to another, and also other messaging apps use social networks to identify connection patterns and other behavioral aspects of people who are connected to these systems. Another huge example of network or application of network is the transportation networks. Your phone uses GPS, which in turn uses networks to identify the shortest or the best possible route during a traffic jam. Another great example of network is the flight pattern network or the flight network, which is used to identify various flight patterns among various airports surrounding the world. Another wide use of network is the information networks, which is used to represent internet connectivity. Basically, the World Wide Web or the cyberspace is a huge network by itself. Another use of information network is to establish relationship between communication wings of political parties. We can also use networks to study or model topics, model certain aspects of topics. For example, Wikipedia articles can be linked based on a certain topic. This feature is basically called as the topic modeling, which we will encounter in the upcoming lectures. Next, we can also use networks to represent biological systems. For example, the protein-protein interaction network is used to identify the root cause behind various cancerous diseases, which are caused due to the interaction between protein molecules. Another virtualization of network is the virtualization of the food web or the hierarchy in an ecosystem, which can be represented using biological networks. Other examples of widely used networks are financial networks, which track financial transactions, trust networks, which basically track the behavioral pattern of trust between various physical entities or people connected within a network. Then we have the trade networks. Then we have the disease networks, which are used to study the pattern of contamination spread of various diseases. Then we also have the citation networks, which are used to track the references or citations used in various publications or articles. What can we do with these networks? We can basically find out whether a disease is likely to spread from one person to another or from one region to another by studying these networks. We can also find a person who is most influential in the social media. We can also find out by studying a friendship network which group is likely to split out or which group is likely to form a separate cluster or a club. Why should we study these networks? First, most complex structures and real-world phenomena can be modeled by these networks. Now, studying these networks helps us to understand these complex phenomena and their entities. In this course, we will explore network models and techniques to study some of these complex phenomena or structures, like the social network or the citation network. We will use Python to code our problems, and you use the Jupyter and Notebook environment to code. The most important library we will use in this session and also in this entire course is the NetworkX, which is basically a very well-defined open source library used to formulate networks. One of the most major brainchild of network science is Albert Barabasi. According to him, network science has made our lives easier. It represents each and every complex problems we encounter in our life day to day, from day to day. These networks help us to understand why we do what we do, our behavioral aspects, and even solve various real-world problems. Thank you.